All right, welcome back to the Metaverse Bible Study Podcast on YouTube, where I talk about pop culture and also how I am teaching languages with the Bible. Now, before we get into using the Bible as the Rosetta Stone of language learning, I kind of am taking my time and introducing you to some concepts that you probably need to become aware of or that you're already aware of. We talked about Stephen Krashen the last video. Today we're going to talk about Steve Kaufmann. And if Krashen is the godfather of language learning and the input, comprehensible input and language acquisition, and he is let's say, the James Brown of language learning, I think my man Steve Kaufmann is the Michael Jackson of language learning. My review on Steve Kaufmann is simple. With all of the knowledge that Stephen Krashen has given us, if you do not maintain motivation, you will not succeed in language learning. Remember what Stephen Krashen said. He said, you got to know how to do it, and you have to stick to it. If you do that, then you will succeed in language learning. Knowing how to do it is only half the battle. Having the motivation to continue doing it is where the battle is won. Because the only way you're going to be able to eat that elephant is one bite at a time. And I'm telling you, without Steve Kaufmann, I do not think that I personally would have been able to stay motivated enough to continue learning the language unless I was learning languages in school or something like that, or unless I was already bilingual. And I'm not bilingual. Well, I wasn't bilingual. So, but Steve Kaufmann got me every time I lost motivation. I just found one of his videos to explain to me motivation, explain to me what I'm doing, how I'm doing it. He is the language learning psychiatrist. If you don't know Steve Kaufmann, he is a co-founder of Link, and he has hundreds and hundreds of videos on language learning, and he has over 1 million subscribers, and I've probably watched all of his videos. I'm going to link some of my favorite videos in the description bar below. But Steve Kaufmann, let me get you something here so that you can see him. Steve Kaufmann is that guy. Steve Kaufmann is that guy. He knows over 20 languages, and he speaks fluently a handful of those languages at a very high proficient level. And then most of his languages go from the B2 level down to the A1 level. And even though he cannot readily speak those languages with fluency, only thing he has to do is dig down into those languages a little more. If he's going to take a trip to a country or something like that, study the language for a couple of months, and he can pull out all of his database on that language and get around in whatever country he is going to go visit. And I think that that is amazing. And it's the motivation of his videos that taught me to stay consistent. And if you're going to be consistent in Spanish or English or whatever language you're learning from this channel, you're going to need that motivation. I'm going to put some of my own motivational videos up, but until I get those up, go over to Steve Kaufmann's page and watch some of his. He talks about the virtue of patience. He talks about the virtue of letting the brain take its time, how you cannot learn a language in 3 months, 6 months, sometimes not even a year, how it's going to take some time to learn that language and get that acquisition to work for you, how you're going to have to spend some time climbing up the rough side of the mountain, and then coming down is the mountain is going to be some sort of a pleasurable experience when you know enough about the language to enjoy the media and enjoy podcasts and watch TV and all the different kind of stuff. He talks about what's important about language learning, what's not important, how some people, because they're trying to sell courses or try to get you to buy into the hype, he keeps you grounded in what this thing is all about, and how you have to be in love with the language. You have to be in love with the culture in order for it to stick, and all the things that he needed to do, the mental hurdles that he needed to jump in order to actually be successful at the languages that he has learned, has imprinted in his person. So, without the motivation that Steve Kaufmann gives, then I would probably have been above all men most miserable, like a lot of people seeking to learn languages but can't seem to get it because of inconsistency. And even today, if there is a video that he drops, I watch it immediately to get my motivation, because he has motivated me. Now, like Stephen Krashen, I was watching Steve Kaufmann videos thinking that language acquisition was the only way to get to fluency, meaning that if I just acquire the language, I would speak it. And that is not the case. And it wasn't until his later videos that he started talking about if you speak often, then in order to speak well, you have to speak often. And and it took me a while to get into his later videos, because I kind of went into his playlist and just kind of binge watched them all. So I didn't learn that until later. And what Stephen Krashen does not mention, and what Steve Kaufmann does not mention, is that the Bible is probably the perfect tool in order for you to merge both ideologies, the language acquisition ideology and the speak from day one ideology, in the perfect medium, to merge them in the perfect with the perfect medium in order for you to become fluent. And if you are familiar with the Bible, then no, it's not going to be the perfect medium for you. But if you are familiar with the Bible, oh my God, you do not know how you're about to tap in to something so powerful. And whether it's Spanish, whether it's English, whether it's French, whether it's Portuguese, it doesn't matter. The Bible is going to get you to fluency, and I'm going to help you get there. Hey, this is Bishop D.D. Lattimore, and I am the host of the Metaverse Bible Study Podcast on YouTube. Listen, the first thing I want you to do is stay in this playlist. Binge watch the playlist that you are on so that you can get to fluency as fast as possible. Every video is my language learning journey and how I went from zero to hero. All right. Subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. And like this video, please like it, and also share it with a fellow language learner. If you agree or if you don't agree, write it in the comment section for me. That would do me great for the algorithm. And if you could write it in the comment section, I would be grateful. If you haven't been able to watch this whole video, or you want to watch it again, save this video. Save it and to your watch later list, and that will help me as well. Also, if you are learning English and you are trying to get conversationally fluent, then you want to shadow this video. This is the trick that nobody's showing you. You want to slow down this video and say what I say word for word in English. Lastly, there are links in the description bar of Steve Kaufmann, and I want you to go into that description bar and look at some of his motivational videos. This is Bishop D.D. Lattimore with the Metaverse Bible Study Podcast on YouTube. I'll talk to you later.